Dream of the Red Chamber Chapter 16.
So let's get into it. Let's unpack the real price they paid for all that prosperity. Okay, so before we even get to the big celebration, we have to start with the counterpoint, the really quiet, tragic part of the story. Young Zhong.
Right. And the sources are very clear. This wasn't just a simple illness. This was a death caused by physical weakness that was compounded by just immense emotional trauma.
He was always a bit delicate, wasn't he?
Exactly. Being Fuzuru, naturally weak, he catches a bad cold, sure. But the real stressor, the thing that does him in, is his affair with the nun, Jining.
Because that meant all the secrecy, the stress.
Sleepless nights, neglecting his health, all of it. And then his father, Qinye, he finds out about them. And that just escalates everything immediately.
To a fatal degree.
Instantly. Qinye is just consumed with rage. He drives the nun out and he beats Qinzong severely. And the tragedy just accelerates from there. It's shocking how fast it happens. Qinye himself dies almost right away from the sheer stress and rage of it all. So now Qinzong, who's already sick, he's been beaten, and now he's crushed by the grief of causing his own father's death. He just gives up. It's this devastating, quick domestic implosion.
What's so jarring, though, is that while this intimate, agonizing family death is happening, the most ruthless operator in the house, Feng Ji, is closing a business deal.
That's right. We pivot directly from the deathbed to the manager's office. Feng Ji has just brokered this marriage deal between the Zhang and Li families. And for her troubles, she gets a cool 3,000 taels.
Okay, let's pause on that. 3,000 taels. We can't just let that number fly by. For people listening, what does that actually mean back then? Is that a nice bonus, or is it...
Oh, it's life-altering, completely life-altering wealth. To put it in context, a really high-ranking official might make, what, maybe 1,000 taels a year?
A year?
Maybe. A big estate in the capital might run you 10,000 taels. So 3,000 is, it's a monumental fortune for one deal. It's enough to buy several houses.
So this is a massive crime. It's not just some petty skim. And the source material connects this profit directly to tragedy.
Horrifically so. Because Feng Ji made this new match happen, the Zhang family's daughter, Jin Jie, had her original engagement broken. So in this act of fierce loyalty, she hangs herself, she commits suicide.
And it doesn't even stop there.
No. Her original fiancé, he hears about her faithfulness, her death, and he in turn drowns himself. So you have a double suicide, 2 young lives just wiped out. All of it a direct consequence of Feng Ji's 3,000 tael deal.
Is the source just positioning these events next to each other, or is it saying she literally profited from their deaths?
It's positioned as a direct transaction. The sources show us her perspective. She, and I'm quoting here, sat comfortably with the money. And the chilling part is what it did to her. It didn't make her hesitate. It strengthened her courage and knowledge and enabled her future wanton acts.
So this crime spree basically sets her up for bigger things.
It establishes her. This moral rot is the literal foundation they're about to build their greatest success on.
The whiplash here is just... it's dizzying. We go from bodies in rivers and mourning clothes right into this huge public triumph. The scene shifts to Jia Zhang's birthday party.
A massive celebration. The whole extended family is there. There's opera, a feast. It's peak domestic joy for a family like the Jis.
Until it all comes to a screeching halt.
Completely. A gatekeeper just bursts in, terrified, reporting that eunuch Xia Shuzong, chief eunuch of the 6 palaces, is at the gate with an imperial decree.
I can't even imagine the fear. You're celebrating your power, and suddenly the most unpredictable arm of the imperial court is literally at your door.
It's paralyzing terror, total confusion. They have no idea if this is a reward or if one of their many crimes has finally caught up with them.
Right.
So they stop the opera mid-song, clear the feast, get the incense table ready, and they all kneel. Then eunuch Xia rides in on a horse, but he's smiling.
That's almost scarier than a frown. Probably. And he doesn't give them a scroll, he gives them an order, a special decree. Jia Zhang has to go to the court for an audience. Immediately. And that she just leaves.
Doesn't even stay for tea. Just leaves them there, kneeling, terrified, for 2 solid hours, just waiting.
That 2-hour wait? God, the psychological stress of not knowing if you're about to be promoted or executed.
It must have been unbearable. Which, of course, made the relief that much greater when the good news finally arrived. The stewards come rushing back, completely out of breath.
And the news is immense. The chief eunuch told them. The eldest daughter, Jia Yuan-chun, has been promoted to Phoenix Court Secretary, and, this is the big one, she's been titled the Worthy Imperial Consort. So this is it. It's not just a political win, it's a dynastic one. They're related to the emperor now.
Exactly. Their fear just turns into this overwhelming collective pride. Young King, the matriarch Jiamu, all the senior ladies, they immediately change into their formal court robes.
And head to the palace.
In a four-sedan procession to go offer thanks. Both houses, Ning and Rong, are just swept up in euphoria, constant noise, laughter. Everyone is just beaming with pride. But amid all of this loud public joy, the source material focuses on one person who isn't celebrating. Bao Yu. Despite this massive family victory, he's still completely depressed. He sees all the celebrations as if they were nothing. He's still consumed by his grief for Zhong.
He's like the moral center of the house, isn't he? He refuses to let the good news erase the bad.
He is. And his mood clashes with the return of two people, Jia Lian and Dai Yu.
Right, they've been gone for a long time.
A long, sad journey. They were burying Dai Yu's father, Lin Ruhai. So they heard the news about Yuan Chen and just rushed back.
And they weren't alone. Their traveling companion is pretty significant, politically speaking.
Oh, absolutely. They traveled with Jia Yukun, who just got a big promotion in the capital, thanks to Prince Siteng. So you have Dai Yu, his former student, and Jia Lian, a relative, returning in the wake of this political ascent. Their physical arrival just reinforces this whole new atmosphere.
And when Bao Yu and Dai Yu finally see each other, it's emotional. A mix of joy and sorrow, and they just have a long cry.
And Dai Yu brings gifts for everyone, books, paper, writing tools. Very her.
Which sets up this really crucial gift exchange. Bao Yu gives her something.
He does. He offers her this precious mandarin duck incense bracelet. It's beautiful, it's valuable, but the key detail is who gave it to him.
It was a gift from Prince Beijing.
Exactly. And Prince Beijing is one of the most powerful men in the kingdom. So a gift from him isn't just a trinket, it's a symbol of patronage, of connection, of that whole masculine world of courtly power that's driving the family's success.
And he's offering a piece of that world to Dai Yu.
A world she absolutely despises. And her reaction is volcanic. She rejects it instantly, throws it aside.
And says, what a stinky man has held. I don't want it.
It's just an incredible rejection. She's not just saying she doesn't like the bracelet, she's rejecting the entire idea of it. By calling the prince a stinky man, she's casting out the whole system he represents. The titles, the schemes, the corruption she sees everywhere.
She wants her relationship with Bao Yu to be pure, untouched by all that.
Completely. Free from the family's political fate. So we move from that very pure romantic tragedy, to the grittiest, most dangerous place in the whole garden. Feng Ji's office. The engine room of power and corruption, yeah. Jia Lian gets home, and Feng Ji is just too busy to even properly greet him.
Instead, she launches into this masterpiece of a monologue.
It's a brilliant strategic performance. She greets him with total sarcasm, calling him Lord of the State's uncle because of the promotion.
Right.
But then she immediately pivots into this calculated, self-deprecating routine.
Painting herself as the victim, which, knowing what we know about the 3,000 Tales, is just laughable.
Completely. She claims she has shallow judgment, clumsy speech, is too honest and soft-hearted. She pretends she was forced into this job, and she's always clutching a handful of sweat.
But she's not actually asking for sympathy.
No, not at all. It's a power move. She's signaling to Jia Lian just how ruthless the real job is, and why she has to operate the way she does. She's justifying her own theft and abuse by blaming the toxic environment she's in.
And then she lays out the tactics the other managers use. This isn't just office politics. This is like organized crime.
It really is. She basically lists a whole library of managerial martial arts. Let's just talk about two of them. First, borrowing a sword to kill a person.
What does that mean?
It means she gets someone else, a middle manager, a maid, to carry out a cruel policy so all the hate and blame falls on them, not her.
Classic. Keep your hands clean. What's the other one? This one is so insidious, pushing over an oil bottle without helping to set it up. It's pure passive sabotage. If she sees a rival manager failing, she doesn't help, she doesn't hurt, she just watches them sink. Watches from the dry bank.
Exactly. She solidifies her own position through the failure. She also asked Jia Lian to do some damage control for her about her time managing the Ning residence.
Right. She said she caused horses to flip and men to fall over.
Which is just a theatrical way of saying she left a trail of chaos and probably fraud, and now she needs him to smooth things over politically.
She's the sharp, financially brilliant manager of the household, and her maid, Pinger.
Right.
She claims another maid, Xiangling, had just visited. Jia Lian asks about
Zhang Ling. She was the girl bought in the capital. She's Zhu Pan's concubine now. And Feng Ji says she's beautiful, gentle, just, superior in conduct to many of the young mistresses.
But the tragedy is her owner, Xu Pan.
He worked so hard to get her and then got bored almost immediately. Feng Ji dismisses his interest as like a passing horse stable wind. It's so cruel.
And then Feng Ji, to really drive the point home, offers to trade her own maid for her.
She does. She jokingly offers to trade Ping Er, her most trusted maid, for Zhang Ling. Just like that.
And Ping Er is intercepting a delivery of Kyong, which is literally interest money, but she has to lie about it, like instantly. Why the immediate deception?
Because that interest money, that's part of Feng Ji's tongue. It's her completely private, secret, untaxed fund.
So it's off the books.
Totally off the books. Yeah. It's separate from the huge household treasury that she officially manages. She's essentially running a black market economy right inside her own residence. And the second she sees her husband, Jillian, is nearby, Ping Er just knows the risk.
The insight there is so critical. Power isn't just about managing the official finances. It's about controlling a private source of income that is absolutely hidden from your own partner. But why from him, specifically?
Well, because of Jillian's character, which Ping Er just sketches out perfectly. She says he is the type who...
He would even find and spend money from a frying pan.
Exactly. It's not just that he's extravagant, it's a complete lack of financial discipline. It's recklessness. If he knew Feng Ji had this reliable, income-generating source of private capital, he would immediately try to spend it.
On his own desires or mistresses or whatever.
You got it.
So this little exchange, it's not just some domestic argument. It's Feng Ji ensuring her own economic survival. She's maintaining her leverage within the whole family structure. That secret fund is her safety net.
It's her private insurance policy, yeah. It allows her to keep her power sharp. And if you connect this to the bigger picture, it really shows that even at the highest level of society, influence is completely dependent on your own personal financial autonomy.
And that autonomy often requires, well, secrecy and deception, even from your own husband.
Precisely.
So once that little financial secret is safely tucked away, the scene shifts. The world of patronage comes calling.
Right, in the form of Zhao Momo, Jillian's wet nurse. And this is where we see this really intense social economy at work.
What's so fascinating here is the negotiation of status. I mean, Zhao Momo nursed Jillian. That's a relationship of extreme intimacy that should guarantee lifelong security.
I think so. But look at the hierarchy. They offer her the main seat, but she insists on a stool at the edge of the heated platform. She knows her place. She is a respectful dependent, not an equal.
And she is not there for small talk. She's not just there for a drink of this. She is there on serious business. She's there to beg Feng Ji to use her influence to get jobs, ongoing patronage for her two sons, the nursing brothers.
She's essentially asking for political life support. I mean, despite this incredibly intimate history she shares with Jillian, she expresses genuine fear. She says she worries she might
starve to death.
Starve to death without Feng Ji's protection. And that just raises a huge question. If you are so closely connected to this powerful family, having literally nourished the heir, why does that intimate bond count for nothing if it isn't backed up by hard political patronage?
Because status fades. Patronage needs constant renewal. And Feng Ji, she sees an opportunity here. She uses this moment to really solidify her status as the indispensable protector of the inner circle.
Even at her husband's expense.
Oh, absolutely. It's a masterful piece of political theater. Feng Ji commits to protecting the sons, but then she delivers this sort of public jab at Jillian, joking that he's inflexible with his own people, but he favors outsiders.
So she positions herself as the caring, capable manager who actually looks out for the loyalists.
And Zhao Momo's reaction just tells you everything. She is so overwhelmed with relief, she declares,
A clear sky has appeared in the room. I mean, for her, just removing the fear for her son's futures, it feels like divine intervention.
Wow.
So this transaction, this whole patronage deal, it establishes the critical foundation. Feng Ji is the central hub of power. She manages the private money, she manages political loyalty, and that makes her the perfect person to handle the national crisis that's about to land on their doorstep.
And it arrives immediately. The scale just explodes from a little bit of silver interest money to a full-blown imperial decree.
Yeah.
Jillian rushes in with news about the imperial visit for Yuan Qin, and he notes that it's Ujer.
8 or 9 parts confirmed. It's happening.
It's happening, and this is the trigger event that demands the Jias put on an unimaginable show of wealth. But first, we have to talk about the political justification the emperor uses. It's just spectacular.
Oh, it is. Jia explains it's rooted entirely in filial piety and tie natural human bonds.
It is the ultimate political genius. The emperor is basically saying that separating these high-ranking women in the palace, like Yuan Shun, from their parents, causes so much emotional pain and longing that it could lead to shiro.
Sickness, illness, or even death in the parents.
Mm-hmm.
So by framing this imperial visit as a necessary action to prevent a statuway, a great violation of the natural order, the emperor makes this extravagant spending completely unassailable.
Who could possibly argue against it?
Nobody.
Yeah.
How can anyone in the court criticize the cost when the moral stakes are defined as life and death, or a violation of the entire cosmos?
That's brilliant. It makes the upcoming construction project mandatory. It's not optional. So the policy comes in two parts. First, there's a standing rule. Relatives can visit the palace on the 2nd and 6th of every month. That's standard.
But the real status marker, the policy that demands this monumental spending, is the special dispensation. If a family builds a dedicated, custom private residence that meets all the security standards, the imperial carriage itself can visit the private home.
And it's allowed specifically so the family can hook on to fulfill private family affection.
And the pressure is on immediately. Jia points out that Zugrian's father has already started building, and Wu Gui's father is out scouting land. The race is on.
This ultimate validation.
Yeah. And this news just throws Fengji into this moment of longing. She regrets she missed the grand events of the past, what she calls the big world.
And this is where the historical context really helps us grasp the sheer scale of the costs involved.
Exactly. Zhao Momo, because she's older, she provides that historical memory. She remembers Emperor Taizu's his imitation of Shun's tour. The spending back then was legendary.
She recalls the Jia family's own role. They were supervising the making of sea vessels and repairing sea dikes.
And the sheer volume of silver they spent was flowing like
It
seawater.
was an oceanic expenditure. Just unbelievable. And Fengji's maternal side, the Wang family, they were just as powerful. They managed foreign tribute. They hosted all the foreign visitors. Their power was so complete that it created that famous saying, Supu.
If the EC lacks a jade bed, the Dragon King invites the King of Jiangyan. I mean, that proverb, it's not just a compliment. It's an acknowledgement that the Wang family has such command over wealth and resources. They were basically like gods of commerce. They could deliver anything.
But even the Jias and the Wangs are kind of eclipsed by the ultimate example the source gives us.
The Zhen family.
The Zhen family, Anjingan. They had the unique status of hosting the emperor 4 times.
4 times. That level of repeat imperial favor required spending that just defied all logic. I mean, the text uses this incredible hyperbole, saying their silver became like mud or dirt.
Wow.
And materials are piling up mountains and filling seas. The wealth was so obscene that they just completely ignored the basic moral warning against Huden.
Sinful waste.
Sinful waste. They transcended the moral economy. The pursuit of status was so important that waste became irrelevant, or maybe even mandatory, to prove how boundless their devotion and their resources were.
But then Zamomo, the wet nurse who was just begging for patronage a few minutes ago, she gives the most cynical and probably the most realistic assessment of this entire system.
She just pulls back the curtain on the whole feedback loop of patronage and corruption with one perfect line. She says, Sahobano.
They are just using the emperor's silver on the emperor's person.
That's it.
Let's break that down, because that is the central economic insight of this whole thing. It means these powerful families, the Jias, the Wangs, the Zens, they manage these huge state projects.
Right, like repairing dikes or managing tributes. And they siphon off immense profits from those projects, which are funded by the state, by the emperor's treasury.
So they get rich managing the state's money.
Exactly. And then they use the money they siphoned off to fund the spectacle, the big residence, which the emperor requires.
And that spectacle proves their loyalty, it secures their status, and it guarantees them more lucrative state contracts down the line.
It's the ultimate closed-loop system of self-perpetuating wealth and influence, all operating under the pure, noble banner of filial piety.
It just completely deconstructs the idea that these families are funding this out of their own private fortunes. The emperor is being hosted using the emperor's own cash.
Funneled through the hands of the very families who are profiting from the display. It shows that even the most extravagant public performance is, at its heart, a demonstration of successful political accounting.
So with that financial logic firmly in place, the family moves to logistics. Jia Lian meets with the elders, and then Jia Rong and Jia Qiang arrive from the Eastern Mansion with the final plan.
And the elders have made their decision. The site for the Ulsha, the Imperial Visit Residence, is going to be massive.
How massive?
They're going to borrow land starting from the Eastern Mansion's garden, turn north, and measure out exactly Arshu, 3.5 large.
Okay, to put that in perspective for you, 3.5 Lai is roughly 1.1 miles.
Or nearly 2 kilometers.
Of continuous custom-built splendor. This is not a new wing on the house. This is a massive, purpose-built palace complex, and they're building it on a tight timeline.
And Jia Lian confirms this is the best, most dignified choice. Getting totally new land would be ruinously expensive, sure, but more importantly, it would lack proper decorum. The project has to look seamless, well-managed, like it's integrated into the ancient, respected family compound.
The appearance of propriety is almost more valuable than the silver itself.
It's the final layer of cost, the logistics of decorum. They're merging high status, inherited property, and new construction to create a venue that's worthy of the emperor, all justified by the idea of relieving a mother's heartbreak.
The family's good fortune is just off the charts. Jia Yuanxin is now a princess consort.
A huge deal.
A huge deal. And she gets permission to visit her family home, which means they have to turn their estate into basically a temporary imperial palace.
And this requires an immediate, just a massive architectural feat.
Mm.
The scale is colossal, and they have to do it now.
And they do it by merging two huge properties.
Exactly. They aren't just renovating. They are literally tearing down the walls between two estates. Specifically, the Ning Mansion's Huifang Garden.
So they're demolishing the walls there.
Demolishing them so the garden can be connected seamlessly to the eastern courtyard of the Rong Mansion. It's a huge project.
When you talk about merging two properties that are already this immense, you have to be talking about draining the family coffers, right?
Oh, completely. But what's so interesting is that even in the middle of all this extravagance, they're trying to save money.
Ah.
Well, the text says they're trying to save many financial resources. And they do it by cannibalizing their own history.
What do you mean by that?
They're stripping the garden of the old Rong Mansion, where Jia lives, for parts. They're taking the bamboo, the rare trees, the rock formations, even whole pavilions and railings, and moving them to the new site.
Wow. That's a striking detail. They're literally ripping up their old splendor to create this new temporary palace.
It's an act of sacrifice, really. It shows that nothing is too precious to repurpose for this one glorious moment of imperial favor.
And it must have been about speed, too.
Oh, absolutely. They don't have time to wait for new materials. They need everything now. And the text really emphasizes this frenzy. It says gold, silver, copper, tin, wood, brick, and tile are being transported nonstop. It's just an army of laborers, day and night.
So who's managing this complete chaos? Because it can't be Jia Zhang.
No. Definitely not. We get that telling line that Jia Zhang is unaccustomed to common affairs. He's the scholar, the moral compass. He's not a project manager.
Right.
So the burden falls on everyone else. Jia Xie, Jia Zhen, and especially Jia Lian, backed up by all their key stewards, Lai Da, Lin Zixiao, all of them.
So the practical managerial class has to take over the biggest project in the family's history.
Right. But for the actual vision, the architectural design, they have to hire an outsider.
Which tells you something, doesn't it?
It does. It shows the specialization needed. They bring in this old master named Shan Zuyan. His job is everything. Mounding hills, digging ponds, building towers, and erecting pavilions. It's not just construction. It's high-level landscape art.
So for all their power, they can't actually do this part themselves. They have to buy the expertise.
And while he's mounding hills, you get this little detail about the micromanagement of luxury. A younger guy, Jia Rong, is given one single job.
Which is?
Crafting the gold and silver vessels.
Just that.
Just that. It shows you the incredible organizational layering, from the huge earthworks down to the most delicate metalwork.
Okay, so let's move from the construction site to the money. Because a project like this needs cash, and it needs it fast. And that means a trip outside the capital, the Suzhou mission.
Right, and this is where we shift from grand architecture to the The inevitable rot of power, the little bits of corruption.
So Jia Lian puts Jia Chang in charge of this mission.
He does. And the shopping list is very specific. Hire performance instructors, purchase young girls for the troupe, and get all the musical instruments and costumes.
It sounds like a job that's just tailor-made for making a little money on the side.
Oh, absolutely. And Jia Lian, who's basically the family accountant, he sees it immediately. He looks at Jia Chang and thinks, the task isn't huge, but it has great potential for hidden gain, for graft.
It's just an accepted fact of life, then.
It's the cost of doing business in their world. And the way they fund this is also really revealing.
They don't just carry a bunch of silver from Beijing.
No, too risky. Instead, they tap into 5,000 taels of silver that are being held for them by the Zen family down in Jiangnan.
So they're leveraging their network. That's fascinating. They move money without actually moving currency.
Exactly. They draw 3,000 taels first for the big purchases, and they leave the other 2,000 for later stuff, like candles, lanterns, curtains.
So does this show that they're incredibly powerful with assets everywhere, or that they're reliant on allies like the Zens?
I think it's a bit of both. It definitely shows interdependence. They trust the Zen family completely, which highlights their shared elite status, but it also ties their fates together.
And the moment this money mission is set up, who jumps right in to exert her influence?
Oh, instantly. Wang Shifeng. Fengji.
Of course.
She doesn't waste a second. She immediately offers Jia Kang two of her own men, Zhao Tianliang and Zhao Tiandong.
The nursing brothers.
She calls them experienced and suitable.
But what she really means is, my guys.
Exactly. She's putting her eyes and ears and probably her own financial interests right into the middle of the mission. She controls the money in the wrong mansion, and she's not about to let that slip.
Her control is just total. And it's such a great contrast to the younger generation's clumsy attempts at graft.
Right. You have Jia Rong, who sneaks over to Fengji and quietly asks if she needs anything, suggesting he can get Jia King to pick it up for her.
He's trying to do a little side deal.
A very amateur one. And Fengji is just disgusted. Her reaction is legendary. She tells him not to break your mother's wind. And she criticizes his sneaky, ghost-like things. It tells you everything about the culture of corruption there.
What? That it's okay as long as you're good at it?
Pretty much. It has to be done with competence and style. Jia Rong's attempt is just crude. It's an insult to her operational efficiency. She despises the lack of subtlety.
And Jia King makes the same mistake with Jia Lian, right? He asks if he needs anything woven as a sign of respect.
And Jia Lian, the professional, just gives him this firm but subtle warning. He basically tells him, don't start learning these tricks so early in your career. The lesson is clear. If you want to succeed here, learn to hide your intentions until you have the authority to manage the graft professionally, like Fengji does.
So you've got this world of high-stakes finance, loud construction, petty corruption, and then the story just slams on the brakes. We get a sudden, jarring change of scene.
A total atmospheric shift. We go from all that noise and energy to silence, sorrow, and death.
Right. While the whole family is caught up in this huge project, Bayu gets pulled away by a personal crisis.
Yeah, he'd been enjoying the chaos, mostly because it meant his father wasn't checking his schoolwork. But that joy just vanishes when he gets the news about his friend.
His attendant, Minyan, comes and tells him that Shenzong is not going to make it.
It's brutal. Bayu rushes over, and grandmother Jia gives him permission to go, fulfill the sentiment of being classmates. But she tells him to come back quickly. The contrast is just so sharp. Schoolwork and death.
And when he gets there, the situation is clearly dire.
It is. Shenzong has already passed out multiple times. He's so weak they've moved him off the heated Kang. The whole room is quiet and heavy.
And Bayu starts to cry.
He does, but an attendant stops him, warns him that crying would just upset the dying man. And this is where the story pivots from the purely physical to the supernatural.
Because while his body is failing, his soul is already somewhere else.
His soul is literally being dragged away by ghost judges, the Gipan. They're holding plaques and ropes. The bureaucracy of the underworld has arrived to process him.
And what's so heartbreaking is what he's thinking about in that moment. His final concerns are so mundane.
Yes. Even as his soul is being taken, he's worried about three things. First, who's going to manage his household? Second, the 3,000 or 4,000 taels of silver his father left him.
Money and responsibility.
And third, the whereabouts of Jineng, the young nun he had a relationship with. His mind is stuck on the exact things Baoyu is always getting in trouble for valuing.
And the ghost judges, they're not having it.
No, they're presented as absolute, iron-faced and selfless. They even quote the proverb, "If the king of hell calls you to die at the third watch, who dares keep you until the fifth?"
Qin Zhong, in a last-ditch effort, says a name.
He says, "Bao Yu," just.
Yes. And what happens?
The reaction is instantaneous. The chief judge, he panics. He realizes Bao Yu, the grandson of the Duke of Zhong, he was born literally holding a piece of jade in his mouth. He immediately orders the soul released.
So overrides a decree from the king of hell.
It stops the process of death cold. The judge even tries to justify it. He says, "The law of men and ghosts is the same. Yin and yang are not two separate principles." And because of that, Jinzong's soul returns for a moment, just long enough for his final words to Bao Yu.
And those words are the final crushing irony of the chapter.
They really are. After living this life of pleasure so similar to Bao Yu's, he uses his last breath to reject it all. He tells Bao Yu, "I realize now I have wronged myself."
And then he gives him advice.
The ultimate conventional advice. He urges Bao Yu to aspire to fame and success, to bring glory and honor, and then he's gone. He passes away immediately.